The show opens up, and I love what the ladies had on. I had my best dress and my worst dress. I think my best dress was runner-ups. Candy was my worst. So I had the two best as being Porsha and Kenya. Candy was giving me mistress of the dungeon. And I guess she was the mistress in charge of everyone else. That's what it looked like to me. That she was the head, bitch, in charge. It looks like if even Andy had to bow to the head mistress. And of course, I love what Kenya was giving us with the fashion. That's what I love about the show. You get to see all this avant-garde fashion. She had the beads going up the right side of her neck, stuck on her neck, and it just came from the dress itself and it went all the way up. And then she had the feathers going on. It was beautiful. I just didn't like the split. It was too far up, almost to the waistline. And their children watching the show. As for Drew, I don't know what the heck she had on. Looked like if she had a dress with a puffy sleeve, like a dress slash pants, dress cut very short. It didn't make sense. Cynthia's outfit was beautiful, except it needed some feathers, and I did not like the hair. That short bob to the shoulder, I thought it wasn't right for that dress. She needed something, an updo, like what Kenya had, or a ponytail would have been nice with this particular dress. Then Messy Andy asked who was the shadiest of them all, and of course Messy Kenya. She elected herself, and I agree with her because she is very, very shady, very messy, conniving, all of the above. That's Kenya. Then he asked him about the designer that made their dresses, and he asked Porsha first. And poor Porsha can't get a break because she couldn't remember the designer for the dress she had on. And I said, oh boy, I mean, every little thing makes this child look so dumb. But she said, you know what, I can't remember. She was honest. Can't remember. I have to look it up. Get back to me. And Drew also said, get back to me. So the rest of the ladies stated who designed their dresses. And that's the one thing that's a no-no. When you are wearing a designer's dress, you make it a point to remember that designer because they put a lot of hard work into it, and a lot of people don't know their names unless you mention their names. So it's up to you when you wear that dress, and it's expected of you, I should say, that you give them a shout out. In that way people get to know them and they get business rolling in. But if you can't remember their name, that's not a good look on you. So I was really surprised when Drew and Porsha could not remember the designer who designed their dresses. That's a no-no in Hollywood. So next they talked about weight gain over this COVID period. Everyone is home, eating a lot, and sleeping. That's what you do. You eat and you sleep, and you get up and you repeat that cycle. And so you gain the weight. Now, Candy said she lost some weight because she's doing a show, and she had to lose the weight for the show. But they all look like if they gained a few pounds. And the topic came up again about Kenya's butt. Is it real? Is it fake? And Kenya says, look, as you can see, I lost a few pounds and my butt fluctuates based on how much pounds I have on. And she just had breast surgery after her daughter, Brooklyn, was born. And so she got a reduction in the bust. And she said her whole body, she lost the weight. So a lot of people were saying it's not the size, Kenya. It's the fact that the butt seems hard and stiff and it doesn't move with motion when you walk, like a normal person's butt would do. When they walk, it kind of swishes a little bit, but yours don't swish at all. So maybe there's something going on that Kenya isn't saying. And to tell you the truth, is none of our business. If she chooses to get butt implants or butt injections, that's on her. It's her body. But all the autoimmune diseases that comes with that, she is going to suffer the consequences, because everybody who I have heard about who has gotten butt shots, that is the ramification, this autoimmune disease that ravages their bodies eventually. Because remember, anything foreign in the human body, the body is always trying to get rid of. And if you're going to pump silicone injections or cement or, like K. Michelle, whatever you pump into your body that's a foreign object, the body will eventually try to get rid of. And if it cannot get rid of it, if the foreign object is trapped within your tissues or under your skin, there's no way of that object escaping, then your body begins to fight itself. It's a defense mechanism. And all those who got the butt implants and injections, they will learn eventually that it's not the healthiest thing they could have done. So Kenya, if she does have injections or implants or whatever it is she has, if she has it, then she's going to have to deal with that eventually. The ramifications of that. Another issue that was brought up was Kenya wearing the Native American costume in the past. And with a Native American costume, you can find that in a party store with a lot of other costumes. But in this climate of us being politically correct, it is not just a costume. We look at it as a costume, but it's actually a national wear for the Native Americans. And when we go in the party store and we buy one of those costumes, we are really making a mockery of their national heritage, their dress wear. It's like going to Africa and choosing a costume or an outfit, I shouldn't say costume, but an outfit that is worn in a tribal ceremony. And you just buy it and wear it as a costume and walk the streets and make fun of it at a particular time of year, like Halloween. It is not very, very flattering to that community when we do that. And we're all kind of guilty. I've never had a costume like that, but I think a lot of people are guilty of buying a Native American outfit and using it as a Halloween outfit. And so Kenya took the heat for that. She apologized. And she says she does have Native American in her blood and she should have known better. And I'm glad she stepped up to the plate and said that it would never happen again, because when you know better, you do better. And we all know better, so we all have to do better. True to form, Kenya is not one to be messed with, because when they came at her about the American Indian outfit she had on and it was not politically correct, she said, Oh, well, we are all guilty of wearing this outfit because Mallory had on one, and this person had on one, and that person had on one, and she pinpointed the person and the time they had it on. So she was not going to be thrown under the bus by herself. And that is Miss Kenya. You mess with Kenya, you're going to get bite. Now going back to the whole dungeon look with Candy being the dungeon mistress, I thought it was clever. Although I didn't like the outfit, I thought it was clever that, all she needed was her whip and her chains. But I understand where she was going with it. The theme was the dungeon look, and even the background was kind of like Moulin Rouge, that type of theme. But when I look at this show, I look at the show for fashion. And she was giving me all dungeon slash Catwoman slash mistress. Although it wasn't my favorite look, I thought she pulled it off. So Kenya and Porsha have their differences and their beef concerning Porsha hosting the Black Lives Matter event that she had out there in Atlanta and did not invite Kenya. And Porsha explained that when someone don't like you, you can't be around them. And her event was very positive, and she did not want the negative vibe that Kenya comes with. She didn't want that to be thrown on her parade. And Kenya said, well, you're very hypocritical because it was supposed to be all inclusive, and you're not supposed to exclude people based on if you like them or don't like them, because this is supposed to be an issue, a cause that we are all part of. So I got what she was saying, but I still felt as though she was maybe a little bit jealous that Porsha was able to pull this off and it went off without a hitch, and she was excluded. And Porsha was just sitting there very smug with that grin on her face, like, yeah, bitch, I got you. I got you. That was the... So Porsha brought up the fact that how is it different than you always throwing shade at me about the Underground Railroad when I made that mistake. And you not only made a big deal out of it, you never made me forget it and always trying to throw it in my face to insult me. And Porsha said she has moved on from it. And as a matter of fact, she has read up on the Underground Railroad because her grandfather was a civil rights leader. And she should have known this stuff. Yes, Porsha, you should have known that stuff, because if civil activism is very much a part of your family and your grandfather was a civil rights leader, then that's just basic. That's something you should have known. But never late than never, Porsha. At least now you know. You took the time out to educate yourself, something you should have either gotten in your family or in the schools. This is just proof that people can come out of school and not knowing a lot of stuff. This is why it's important for us as black people to educate our children, because a lot of times we are assuming they're getting the information in school and they're not. So Black history, it's really incumbent upon us to teach our children and ourselves about Black history. We can't leave it for any other group to teach us. We have to do it for ourselves. So this ongoing beef between Porsha and Kenya, I don't think they're going to ever get over it. I think it's just they started out on the wrong foot, and instead of them binding together now that they are the older members of the cast. They're the original cast, because new people have come in to the fold, and they are the original, and they should really be a unit, but they're as far apart as ever. So I don't think this is ever going to mend. They don't like each other, and that's the way it is. I noticed that Candy has taken over as the bone carrier. She spilled the tea on Kenya, for Kenya getting a divorce. She preempted Kenya in telling everyone about it. So Candy divulged that information, and in true Candy form, she'll spill the tea on someone, and then she pretends she don't want to talk about it. She don't know much about it. It's she throws a rock and hide her hand, like if she, I don't know what happened, that type of thing. But Kenya stepped up in and she said, yes, I am filing for a divorce finally, because I realized that Mark don't give a damn about this marriage. He doesn't even care about his own daughter, Brooklyn. All he wants is for her to be off of TV. And if he cared that much about her, I would think that he would see her often, because he's in New York. And if you care about your child as much as we would like to think that you care about her, then you would be visiting Atlanta more often. But he doesn't visit Atlanta often. He just makes, according to Kenya, a bunch of demands. He doesn't want the child on television. And he's not really working on the marriage. He's not putting forth the effort, according to Kenya. And so his focus is completely displaced. And she's tired of it, and she wants out at this point. She said they went to court and she got sole custody. At one point he had blocked her, and Andy said, well, do you want to call him to see if you're still blocked? And she kind of declined. I think she's still blocked, but Kenya, she likes to put on a good face, like if she's got everything handled and under control. Well, this divorce was long in the making, because from the time she got married, really, she's been a single mother. She's been a single parent when she gave birth to her daughter. Prior to giving birth, she was really like if she was separated. She and Mark acted as if they were separated. He lived in New York. She lived in Atlanta. When she visited New York, she stayed in a hotel. When he visited Atlanta, sometimes he'd sleep at a house. Most of the time, he checked into a hotel. So they were really separated, and they were newlyweds. So when Brooklyn came along, I guess Kenya thought it was going to be different. There was going to be a change in his attitude, but there was no change. Everything was status quo. And although she is going through a divorce, she said she's still going to wear her ring until the finalization of the papers of the divorce. Because Kenya wants to hold on to this ring as long as she can, because this might be the only ring that she will ever get. Because remember, y'all, she waited a long time to get married. Nobody would propose because, let's face it, she's beautiful, but she's intimidating. A lot of guys can't deal with a strong woman like that, a strong black woman. And Kenya is a strong black woman. But Kenya is going to be fine. She was fine before Mark. She was fine during the marriage, and she's going to be fine after the marriage. Then Kenya finally admits that the reason why she wanted to hold on to the marriage so badly was because her mother's situation, and her, she's an unwanted child by her mother, and she truly does not know why. And to tell you the truth, YouTube family, I am suspecting, because I saw the episode in the past where She knocked on her mother's door, and she heard her inside the house, but the mother would not open up. I suspect that her mother was probably raped and she was a product of rape. That's what I'm thinking of. And this is why her mother doesn't want anything to do with her nor her father. So, a lot of times when people are raped, they don't have anything to do with the child. And so, this is what I'm suspecting. So, next up, it was Drew and Ralph. Ralph came on the show as a guest. And I guess he came on because he wanted to clear the air with everyone, including the public, about addressing the issue again about him disappearing for 3 days on Drew. And as he was talking, I was looking at Drew's demeanor, and she kind of stiffened up. She didn't seem too pleased. I guess she was nervous. Like she said, it's her first time for any reunion show. So Ralph went on to explaining again that, he didn't cheat, nothing happened, he has receipts, and even Drew co-signed that, yes, he showed me receipts where he was and what he was doing and when he jogged and when he ate. But you can have all the receipts in the world, baby girl. I thought you knew better than that. If a man wants to cheat, he can cheat with you laying in that bed, sleeping, and have his side chick on that bed screwing. Okay, that's how these men know how to navigate two relationships at the same time. That's how good they are. So this little cock and bull story that Ralph gave you, that he went on the beach and just to get away for a little while. I guess you guys must really be having some marital issues, because you did say every Monday you guys go to a counselor. So if you're having that much issues that you have to see a counselor every Monday, your marriage is in trouble. Mr. Ralphie got away for 3 days, probably with his side chick, allegedly. Because as he was talking about, he just needed to get away, and he has receipts of him alone in a hotel room. I have receipts of myself in a hotel room, but that doesn't mean that other people don't visit me. Okay? And Candy, I don't know if you guys saw the shade that Candy was throwing. She was just sitting there and just laughing and smiling and refusing to look up and looking down, because Miss Candy knows something that we don't know. She's got receipts too. It's going to come out sooner or later. See, what you do in the dark must come to light, Mr. Ralphie. And that same Candy that likes to spill the tea and is carrying the bone this year, this season, she's going to spill your tea. And it's going to come out that you were on that beach, not by yourself. This is why Candy said, well, if she, I'm paraphrasing y'all, if she like it, I love it. And if she's willing to accept what he's saying, then what can I say? I accept it too. What is that telling you? I read through those lines that Candy threw out, those beams, and what that was telling me was Candy knows more than she is saying, and she's got the receipts to prove it. That's why she was sitting there so quiet and smiling, and Messy Andy asked her, well, what do you think, Candy? Because Andy knows it too. Ralph also talked about Josiah getting to know his father, and he was not going to stand in the way of him getting to know his father and having a relationship with his dad, which I thought was commendable. Because when you come into a woman's life and she's got a child or children, you're not supposed to be a hindrance to that child or children getting to know their parent who are not in the house and you have replaced. You're supposed to foster and encourage a relationship with that child and that parent. And so I found that to be commendable. And Candy got a little choked up because she was thinking about Block and her daughter and the fact that Riley never got to know her dad growing up. And it wasn't the fault of Candy, really. It was the fault of Block. You know, he is the adult, he is the parent, and it was up to him if he wanted to know his biological child. And so it was really up to Block all these years. He knew where Candy was, he knew where Riley was, ever put forth an effort. I remember one of the shows he came on and he and Riley went to dinner and had a sit down, and I thought after that show he would be a presence in her life, but he was not. So really, he really didn't want to get to know Riley. So there was nothing Candy could have done. So she was a little choked up that Riley never got to know her father. But the one consolation is he was ordered by the court to pay all back child support. And that money that he's going to be paying Candy, Candy said it's Riley's money and she's going to do with it whatever she wants to do with it. But all the back child support that Block owes Riley, she's going to be getting, which is great. It's a shame that a man can lay with a woman, produce a child, and turn his back and have to be forced by the courts to support his own child. So what I don't understand is why don't they just put a condom on? If they know they don't want the responsibility of having a child, once the child comes into the world, use a condom. Because you know you don't want to pay child support. You don't want a child. So do the right thing and protect yourself as well as the woman. And Drew is still kind of salty with Kenya because when Drew had originally joined the show, Kenya threw shade at her because she called her a stray. And where do Andy get these people from the pound? You know, very insultive. And it was supposed to be an inside joke between Kenya and Cynthia, but there's no such thing as an inside joke on national TV. Not if you're saying it on national TV, it's not in private. So, of course, Drew saw the clip and became instantly an enemy of Kenya. And I can understand it, you know, and if Kenya can't understand it, then there's something wrong with her. If you're going to make such an insulting remark about someone you don't even know, she was fresh to the show, and she was very friendly, and she came to that get together and, you know, very joyfully and greeting everyone, and then you're going to be that insultive. And no wonder she's still talking about you, although she admits that she does not talk about Kenya. That's a big lie, because we all see it on national TV where she does talk about Kenya. You cannot rewrite history. But that's the thing that's not going over well with me with this Drew character. Too many lies, and she fudges the truth. She embellishes the truth and stretches what's supposed to be the truth. Or a lie, she'll bend it and twist it and make it into something that is not. And I think she's been caught in too many lies for me to even embrace her as a cast member. You know, so the verdict is still out on Drew, in my opinion. Kenya apologized for throwing that insultive remark about Drew being from the pound. But with Kenya, her apologies, a lot of times it means nothing because she'll walk it back. She'll apologize today, and next week she's going to say, well, I stand by my word. So a lot of ladies, a lot of ladies on the show don't hold credence to any apology that Kenya gives. But the reality show wouldn't be a reality show if they didn't fuss and fight and throw remarks and backstab and backbite, and it wouldn't be a reality show. After all, that's why we tune in, for the skirmishes and all the dialogue, the nasty dialogue. I'm pleased to see they're not physically fighting. I think that's an era that's over with. I think by and large, the reality shows have moved past that ratchetness that Evelyn Lazada used to give us, jumping on the table and running across the table to fight someone. Yeah, I think that's over with. We've gone past that, we're over it, and it's too ratchet for our consumption. So Drew never ceases to come at Kenya with some type of snippet remark, but Kenya is up to the challenge. I don't know who Drew thinks she is messing with, but Drew made a remark that Kenya does not have a cohesive family, meaning that she and her man, Mark, are separated. And Kenya, being Kenya, she said, well, I may not have I'm paraphrasing y'all, I may not have a cohesive family, but your man is sleeping under the jail. He doesn't have a roof over his head. And Drew was kind of taken back. Although she's not with the same man, Kenya don't care about that. Kenya was just using it as ammunition to hit below the belt where it hurts the most. And that's why she is the queen of shade. And Drew said, you want to get nasty? Let me know where this is leading or heading and where you going with this, because I can get nasty too. But FYI, Drew, Kenya had already gotten nasty. So you pointed out the fact that if she's getting nasty and where she going with it, honey, she went there. Then Drew touched on the fact that Kenya talked about her child and tweeted about her child, Josiah, and she could never forgive her, and then she was boo-hoo and sobbing about it. And as marking the day, as long as I live, on this day, remember this day that I could never forgive you. Do you think Kenya give a damn? Ask yourself. First of all, she don't like you. She don't care if you mark the day in blood or stone. It ain't gonna make a difference. According to Kenya, I'm not gonna change what I said. And according to Miss Nene Leaks, I said what I said. So there you have it, Drew. You can mark the day in blood or stone, etched in ink. It don't matter. Kenya is never going to like you. You're never going to like her. The two of you started on the wrong foot. Your relationship never had a chance. So it's just one of those things where you just got to ignore Kenya. She's going to ignore you. If you come at Kenya, she's going to come back at you. And she's going to come back even harder. So if you think you're big, bad, and bold to come up against Kenya, I have news for you, baby girl. But no, I do not agree about Kenya tweeting about Josiah, because she has a child and she wouldn't like anyone to speak badly about Brooklyn. When you really don't know how to address a situation, you have to put yourself in another person's shoe. And I'm sure, although Kenya was trying to defend herself and what she tweeted and what she said against just Josiah, I'm sure she realized that she was wrong, because he is a child, and if she has something to say, she has to say it to his mother. And then she and the mother would iron it out, figure it out, or beef it out. So I think Porsha and Dennis is finally over. It's a drawn out conclusion. We saw this coming, we knew the outcome. Porsha apparently was really trying to hold on to the relationship because they do have a child in common. And I think because she went through a failed marriage and so many failed relationships, she was trying to secure this one. And especially with a child currently present as a result of this relationship, I think she was trying to lead this into marriage. And so it did not work. It could not work because, once again, on the outside looking in, we see another relationship on Bravo where the woman is doing all the work in terms of trying to make the relationship cohesive and workable, and the man is off and very, very disinterested. You know, Dennis is just one of those guys that, I guess, when he finds the right person, he is going to settle down, but it wasn't Porsha. Porsha probably viewed him as husband material, but he doesn't look at her as wife material. And unfortunately, you have beautiful women on the show like Porsha and Kenya, and they cannot secure a man. So, and I don't think it's the fault of the women. I think it's the fact that the men are weak and weak-minded, and any little skirt that pass their way or dress that blow their way, they go running. That's a weak man. So Porsha, I'll say the same thing like I said to Kenya. You're beautiful, and in 2 2s, you're gonna find a suitor, someone who is worthy of your love. So Latoya enters the room, and Andy said to her, "I thought you weren't feeling well. I thought you had a bladder infection," and she threw shade right back at him. And she said, "Yes, I have everything under the sun, including a bladder infection." I'm paraphrasing. And then she came out with her gun, smoking, and it was pointed straight at Drew. And, you know, she said, "It's nice to be here, nice to see everyone except the troll." And Drew and her went back and forth with words, and then she said that she accused Drew of sending someone in the dressing room with some type of pills for her to take for the urinary tract infection. And Drew denied it, but I can see the smirk on her face where she probably did send someone in there with some pills just to get under her skin. And I think Latoya wasn't going to show up on the show, but maybe she was convinced to, you know, since it's the first show for her. So this was the first part of the reunion. Looking forward to part 2. I hope it's a little more exciting. YouTube family, like, share, and subscribe to this video. Be blessed, stay blessed, and don't forget to be a blessing to someone else. Bye-bye.